Tonight, a terrorist attack on a mosque in Quebec, Canada. We have the details.
Later, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau tweets in response to Trump's recent immigration legislation. We'll fill you in.
Plus, the NATO alliance military has fired several warning shots at Russia. We have the rest of the story ahead.
Good evening and welcome to the MCTV Weekly News Update. I'm Clancy Burke.
And I'm Dylan Gordon. Sunday night, an act of terrorism was enacted upon Canada when gunmen opened fire on a mosque in Quebec, Canada. A total of 14 people were shot during the attack, 6 of whom were killed. 39 other people were present in the mosque at the time of the shooting, but were unharmed. The attack, occurring at 8 p.m., shook the country, a nation where mass shootings are a rarity. The 2 suspects have since been arrested by Canadian authorities, but a motive behind the shooting has not yet been identified.
Trump isn't the only commander-in-chief tweeting lately. In response to Trump's ban on immigration, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau released a series of tweets restating the country's open-door policy to refugees. In one tweet, Trudeau wrote, "To those fleeing prosecution, terror, and war, Canadians will welcome you regardless of your faith. Diversity is our strength." Since Trudeau took office in 2015, Canada has welcomed 40,000 Syrian refugees.
Early Monday, American troops in Poland showed off the full power of the NATO alliance military when they fired salvos at the Poland-Russia border. President Trump's failing commitment to NATO has raised concern for the 28-nation alliance. The rounds were not directed toward Russia, but were shot off to let the country know that the NATO forces were not to be messed with. Don't mess with Poland or any other NATO member. Attack any of us is an attack on all.
With February approaching, the temperatures are dropping even lower. Jillian McCarthy has your weekly highs and lows report.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Highs and Lows reports. I'm Jillian McCarthy. This past week, we experienced some unfavorable weather with hailstorms, snowstorms, and rainstorms around the Poughkeepsie area. Over the weekend, temperatures dropped at night to the 20s, and yesterday was partly cloudy at 34 degrees. This week, we're looking at lots of clouds with temperatures in the mid-30s. First, here are some worldwide photos. This first one is from a southern province in Thailand, and as you can see, there is destruction due to the torrential rain floods. 370,000 households have been affected from the severe flooding. As of Sunday, 10 of 14 southern provinces in Thailand have been affected, leaving 30 people dead and 2 missing. The meteorology department has predicted further rainy weather this week and is urging residents to be cautious of secondary disaster, such as landslides. On Sunday, a wind advisory was issued by the National Weather Service for San Diego County's mountain and along the coastal foothills. East to northeast winds of 15 to 30 miles per hour were predicted for the area, with isolated gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour. The severe winds will make driving difficult for motorists on north-south oriented highways, and they are advised to watch out for broken tree limbs and other debris. Now focusing on weather on our neck of the woods. For today's weather, we reached a high of 34 and a low of 18, nearing around the average of 36 and 16 degrees. Today's sunrise is at 7:09 a.m. and sunset is at 5:08 p.m. Tonight, we're looking at clear skies with a low of 18 degrees and no chance of precipitation, with winds west at 7 miles per hour. Looking ahead for tomorrow, we're seeing snow with a low of 26 degrees. There is a 70% chance of precipitation, with winds at 9 miles per hour. Now taking a look at the 7-day forecast. We're going to see plenty of clouds, and Wednesday will be considered the warmest day out of the week at 42 degrees. The rest of the week will be partly cloudy, and on Friday, temperatures will drop to 29 degrees. Over the weekend, we are seeing more clouds with temperatures in the 30s. And on Monday, temperatures will reach 37 degrees with the exception of tomorrow's snow. We're not looking at a ton of precipitation this week, but be prepared for colder temperatures. I'm Jillian McCarthy, and that concludes our weather for the week. Thank you.
Donald Trump's newest controversial executive order suspends immigration from 7 predominantly Muslim countries. For at least the next 90 days, those living in Iraq, Syria, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen will not be allowed to enter the United States. Trump also suspended the U.S. refugee program for the next 4 months. It is unclear how many other countries will be added to the list, but this is likely just a first step towards what Trump officials call extreme vetting.
And as a result of the new immigration ban, protests have begun in more than 30 cities across the United States. Rallies in Boston, Philadelphia, New York, and Washington drew thousands of protesters filling the streets. Take a look at some of the crowds drawn across the nation. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio joined a rally at Battery Park where Senator Chuck Schumer called the ban mean-spirited. So far, protests have remained peaceful.
Yesterday, Starbucks released plans to hire 10,000 refugees over the next 5 months. The move is in response to President Trump's travel ban and outlines a plan to take on the new employees in 75 countries it does business with. According to CEO Howard Schultz, the hiring proposal will focus on people who have served with U.S. troops.
Well, it's an exciting time in the sports world, and here is Andrea Fressel with your weekly sports update.
Presley, and welcome to MCTV Sports. Super Bowl 51 is coming up this Sunday, and we are in for a very exciting game. The Atlanta Falcons take on the New England Patriots at in Houston, Texas. Patriots quarterback Tom Brady is vying for his first quarterback in history to win 5 Super Bowls. New England is a slight favorite, and everyone expects it to be an explosive game with the offense competing. This is Atlanta's second trip to the Super Bowl. According to local reports, we're likely to suppress the record of 114.4 million Americans that watched the 2015 Super Bowl on TV. In golf news, Tiger Woods came back for the first weekend to play and he didn't win the tournament, but he's back healthy. In the world of tennis, Roger Federer won the Australian Open at 35 years old, and he won his 18th Grand Slam title. This is an advanced age for a professional tennis player. He beat Rafael Nadal, another tennis veteran. He won an explosive 5 sets. Villanova won a last-minute tip to beat the top 20 ranked Virginia. Knicks continue to have trade talks in regard to their star, Carmelo Anthony. In mirror sports, men's track set school record and women's swimming and diving beats Bearcats. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Andrea Fresley.
Last night, actors and actresses made a quick pit stop on the way to the Oscars at the Screen Actors Guild Awards. Viola Davis won for her role in Fences. The cast of Netflix acclaimed Stranger Things brought home the award for Best Performance by an Ensemble, and Emma Stone snagged yet another win for La La Land. Amidst the celebration, some of the speeches got political, with many winners taking the chance to voice their opinion on the refugee ban.
New York City commuters can finally breathe sighs of relief. The MTA board on Wednesday voted to keep the base fare at $2.75 for a single subway ride. For the past few months, the board has been considering a fare hike that would raise the price to $3, a price many are not willing to pay. Sources say Governor Andrew Cuomo swooped in at the last minute, urging MTA board members to keep the base fare.
We are all waiting for the day that pigs will fly, but instead, we may be getting pig-human embryos. On Thursday, an international stem cell research team announced the creation of the first human pig embryos. This research is being conducted for the hopes of kidney, heart, and other organ growth for human transplants. The study has found its way around government bans on animal-human chimera, or the mashup of human and animal tissues, by being funded by private donors in the United States and Spain. People are worried about this defying nature and science going too far. However, the studies continue on.
What's going on around campus? Here's Jamie Caniglia with some Red Fox news.
Ciao a tutti, io sono Jamie Caniglia e benvenuti a Che cosa la volpe. Lo scorso semestre, I'm sorry, I've got Italian on the brain. What I was going to say was last semester, What the Fox took a bit of a hiatus because I was studying abroad in Italy. Today I'm giving my top reasons why you should study abroad. For example, a new culture with its own unique food, fashion, architecture, and people. Each day when I walked to class in Florence, I would see parents bringing their children to the elementary school that was around the corner from my apartment. In Italy, there are no school buses and the streets are so small most people don't bother with cars. Many walk their children to school or ride bikes. Picture this, a parent furiously pedaling over the cobblestone streets with 1 or 2 kids seated on the bike with them, trying to get to school and then to work on time. Every morning I was fascinated with the families on bikes because it was something so different from American culture. Another one of the great things about Italy and all of Europe is the history. These countries have been around for centuries, making America look infantile in comparison. On the way to most of my classes, I walked by the Duomo, which has been around since the late 1200s and is one of the largest cathedrals in the world. Most times I was trying to dodge tourists and street vendors as I walked by, but if I had time, I would stop and take in the grandiose structure. In addition, study abroad is a great time to learn a new language, which was my biggest motivation to go to Italy. In order to immerse myself in the Italian language, I chose to do a homestay. Out of the 150 students from Marist in Florence, I was the only one that chose to do a homestay, and I'm so glad that I did. I lived with 3 other American students from other universities and an older Italian woman named Anna. Anna did not speak English, and I was the only student who knew any Italian. Therefore, I was the designated translator, which ended up improving my technique immensely. The 5 of us ate dinner together, Monday through Friday, and would tell jokes or talk about current events. Anna would talk to me about the earthquakes that kept occurring in southern Italy, the American election. She was not a fan of Trump, a devastating flood that damaged a great deal of Florence 50 years ago, and current Italian politics. I learned more Italian in my 4 months there than I have studying in America for the past 7 years. It was truly incredible. It is safe to say, ho lasciato un pezzo del mio cuore in Firenze. I left a piece of my heart in Florence.
Now, I know many of us have given our fair share of bad excuses on why our paper is late, but this one may take the cake. According to Florida police, there was a man inside a car wash blaring his music and completely naked. When asked why he was publicly naked, he responded with, "They took off running by themselves, without me." He then tried to assault the police officer with a screwdriver. The man has been arrested and given pants. However, his original runaway pants have not been found.
Many people complain about not getting a good night's sleep, but what does that even mean? In a recent sleep study, the National Sleep Foundation found there are a few main components to a perfect night of sleep. These include being asleep for 85% of the night, taking 30 minutes or less to fall asleep, and not waking up for an extended period of time more than once per night. The new study was completed in hopes for diagnosing various sleep disorders and to give recommendation to those searching for explanations to their poor quality of sleep. Sleep tight and don't let those bed bugs bite.
We hope you didn't give up ice cream for your New Year's resolution, because Ben & Jerry's has just released 3 new ice cream flavors. The Vermont-based ice cream company's new flavors will be hitting the stores mid-February. The flavors are Oat on This World, a spin on a retired oatmeal classic, Truffle Kerfuffle, a vanilla pecan and salted caramel combo, and Ben & Jerry's first ever alcohol-based ice cream, Urban Bourbon, which speaks for itself. Let's hope the cab will have these available ASAP. Well, that's it for this week's news. Thanks for tuning in to MCTV. I'm Dylan Gordon.
And I'm Clancy Burke. Good night. Well, that story almost got me.